Let me tell you a funny story about your prison. You wake up, and the first thing you do is perform: brush your teeth, tie your tie, scroll your feed, nod politely at the invisible script someone else wrote for you, and somehow convince yourself this is freedom. Every day you clap at jokes you don't understand, laugh at polite lies, and smile at people who don't see you at all while quietly rehearsing your own disappearance. You call it sanity, but I call it absurdity, a grotesque pantomime where the lines are written in fear, the applause is for your compliance, and the only one paying attention is the storm inside your chest that you've been told to ignore. You obey schedules like a trained animal, file your reports like a machine, sit in your cubicle or your apartment counting the hours until it's socially acceptable to go to bed and dream, and pretend the world makes sense. And yet somehow, you think this polite routine is safe, that this quiet resignation is smart, that by following the rules you are secure, but security is just another name for a slow death, a polite decay, punctuated by forced smiles and hollow greetings. You are afraid to take up space, afraid to laugh at your own thoughts, afraid that if you don't perform civility, someone will notice you are actually alive. And the joke, the exquisite, painful joke, is that you are alive, but only in the small corners where no one can see you, where no one can clap politely for your hidden heartbeat. You walk through the world clapping for other people's performances, while your own potential roars silently inside you, begging for a spotlight, for a disruption, for a taste of chaos that will remind you you're human. You are the invisible storm trapped in polite society, the spark smothered under fluorescent lights, the pulse no one hears, the laughter that echoes only in your skull. And that, my friend, that is the punchline. You are the punchline, the audience laughing at your own captivity, nodding along to scripts that don't belong to you, performing a civilization that would rather die politely than live loudly, and yet somehow, in that absurdity, there is a spark, a seed, a little ember of the chaos that could burn away the walls, if only you remembered it existed, if only you stopped clapping, if only you wake up every day and put on your, what? Your civilized mask? Your polite disguise? Your little costume of approval? You smear toothpaste on your face of conformity, pull on the uniform of decency, and march out into a world that has already decided how you should behave, how you should think, and how you should measure success, all while pretending you invented the steps yourself. You nod, you smile, you clap, you apologize, you hold the door, you type the emails, you sit in the meetings, you scroll the feeds, all performing the greatest illusion of your life, that this is normal, this is sane, this is safe. You follow the social script so religiously it's almost sacred. Graduate work, pay taxes, pretend to like your neighbors, retire quietly, die silently, and yet each day, each polite gesture, each laugh at someone else's performance eats a little more of you away, a little more of your pulse, until you wonder if the mask is the only thing that still exists. And the worst part, they told you madness was dangerous, but really, the danger is in the mask itself. The danger is in living behind it, in honoring the rules you were never meant to follow, in applauding a reality that doesn't belong to you. Every polite nod, every yes, of course, and very well done is a brick in the walls of your own asylum, a cage built from fear, approval, and habit, a padded room where the echoes of your own suppressed desires bounce off invisible walls you're convinced are solid. You are dying politely in cubicles, in offices, in coffee shops, in traffic jams, while pretending you are breathing freely. You are a ghost, applauding other ghosts, a character in a play that you never auditioned for, and still, somehow, the audience expects your performance. And so you smile, you nod, you clench your teeth behind the polite grin, all while wondering why life feels hollow, why laughter feels like a memory, why chaos feels forbidden. And here's the delicious irony, the exquisitely bitter truth. The mask that was meant to protect you is the very thing that kills you slowly, politely, predictably, as you wander through your safe life convinced that sanity is survival, when in fact it is nothing but slow, polite decay, a performance applauded by strangers who would never notice if you stopped playing along, because they're all trapped behind their own masks too. Every commute, every meeting, every polite email, every forced smile is another stitch in the quilt of your own imprisonment. And the quilt is heavy, heavier than you think. You carry it to bed, you carry it to work, you carry it in conversations, and you don't even notice the pressure it places on your ribs, the quiet erosion of your lungs, the slow suffocation of your spirit under polite applause. You think you're surviving. You're not. You're waiting for what? For someone to clap for you. For someone to notice that the storm inside you has been raging, unclaimed, unseen, unheard for decades. You've been waiting for applause for a life you haven't dared to live yet. Every polite action you take is a calculation. Every smile you offer is a bribe to society, so it won't notice your inner fire. Every nod is a stitch in the quilt of silence. Every laugh at a forced joke is a chain around your ribs, and yet you convince yourself this is rational. Rational. Rational is what the cage tells you it is. Safety is what the cage whispers. Order is what the cage demands. And the cage? The cage is your own hands, your own fingers tying ribbons around your throat while you call it responsibility. You have trained yourself to applaud the illusion of civilization while ignoring the fire that is your birthright. You walk through traffic jams, cubicles, coffee lines, and board meetings like a ghost and think this is life. Ghost, yes. Invisible, yes. Silent, yes. Polite, yes. Alive? That, my friend, is the question. What if I told you your sanity is the disease? What if I told you that all the rules you've been obeying, all the polite smiles, all the nods and claps, all the careful steps in someone else's script, they are not protection, they are infection, spreading through your veins quietly, systematically, convincing you that safety is more important than life, that comfort is more valuable than fire. You've been trained to fear chaos, to see it as destruction, as something dangerous, but that is the lie, the biggest joke of all, because chaos is not the enemy. Chaos is energy, untamed potential, a spark in your chest that has been waiting for permission to ignite. You think you must be careful, cautious, measured, but what if measured is a cage? What if careful is the rope around your neck, invisible and suffocating? There is a way to turn the storm inside you into creation rather than collapse, to take the madness you were warned against and make it a tool, a lens, a weapon of authenticity, a pulse that reminds the world that you exist. Controlled madness. That's the framework I'm offering. A little chaos here, a little subversion there, a truth spoken too loud, a joke too sharp, a choice too brave. You think chaos means destruction. No. Chaos is just order waiting to be born. It is the blueprint for a life that belongs to you, not to the rules of polite decay, not to the applause of strangers, not to the scripts of those who never dared to laugh at their own prisons. Imagine if you could move through the world feeling the storm inside you and not fearing it, if every risk, every incorrect thought, every uncomfortable truth became a tool instead of a threat. That's the promise of productive chaos. Messy, wild, dangerous, yes, but also precise, intentional, alive. And the irony, the delicious twist, is that the very thing you were taught to fear is the only thing that can set you free, because the mask will never save you. The mask will never show you what is possible. Only chaos can. Only chaos can remind you what it feels like to laugh at the absurdity of it all, to step off the stage everyone else thinks they own, to take the applause away from the audience and place it where it belongs inside you. And once you see that, once you understand that the disease was always your sanity, then the game begins. And the only rule is that there are no rules except the ones you choose to make. Here's your first rule to break. Laugh at something you're supposed to take seriously. Yes, start small, just one tiny deviation from the script, and feel the thrill of your own pulse racing at the audacity of it. Welcome to Productive Rebellion, a system of small, deliberate disobediences designed to remind you that you are not a spectator in this world, that you are the storm, the mischief, the creator of your own rules. Scribble one outrageous thought, speak one uncomfortable truth, move one way the crowd expects you to stay still, and notice how the world shudders, how your body hums, how your mind stretches, testing the elasticity of your courage. practice madness safely. 5 minutes a day is enough. 5 minutes of letting yourself imagine, act, or speak in ways that society calls reckless, absurd, or inconvenient. Then switch modes: creative chaos when you need to explode, to disrupt, to feel alive; strategic sanity when you need to channel that energy, to build, to create, to manipulate reality without burning down your own life. And repeat. Start by laughing at one rule today, and tomorrow laugh at another, and the next day push the boundary a little further until your pulse remembers what it means to be untamed. These are not reckless acts. They are rehearsal for the life that's always been yours, the life under the mask, the life behind the applause. Every small rebellion strengthens the spine that has been bending to invisible warden voices for decades. Every chuckle against expectation loosens the grip of fear. Every tiny act of chaos reminds you that safety has been a polite lie. The world will try to shame you, to call you foolish, to demand that you sit quietly and clap along, but laugh anyway. Laugh at the rules, laugh at the scripts, laugh at yourself. And in that laughter, you will feel the first crack in the walls of your prison. You will see that chaos is not something to survive. It is something to practice, to wield, to master, to shape. You can turn it on and off, like a switch between two realities. One where you are still a well-behaved ghost, applauding the illusions of others, and one where you are awake, alert, alive, bending rules, shaping outcomes, and finally remembering how to live without asking permission. And the beauty of it is that no one can stop you once you've remembered. Stop being a background character in society's play. Stop nodding politely while the world writes your lines. Stop clapping for jokes you don't believe in. Stop shrinking yourself to fit into the invisible box labeled acceptable. You are not here to be a shadow, a ghost, a polite statistic. No, you are here to be the storm that bends the stage, the chaos that redraws the scenery, the laughter that reminds everyone else how absurd their scripts are. Welcome to your new identity, the controlled chaos creator. You will practice it every day. 3 daily insanities. Speak one uncomfortable truth aloud, even if your voice shakes. Laugh at something everyone else treats as serious, even if they stare. Break one small rule that you have been following for years, just to remind yourself that obedience is a choice, not a mandate. These are not reckless acts. They are exercises in freedom, rituals in reclamation, the heartbeat of a life that has been waiting for you under the mask. You will feel the tension, the fear, the eyes of the world judging, but that is the signal that you are alive. That is the music of transformation. You will feel chaos and sanity sliding along a tightrope inside you, and you will learn when to tilt, when to sway, when to explode into creation, and when to pull it back into precise force. And each day, each small rebellion, each laugh, each uncomfortable truth will stitch together the person you are always meant to be. Someone who moves through life with awareness, audacity, and delight. Someone whose pulse reminds the world that civility is not the same as living, and that the polite mask is a choice, not a requirement. You are the puppet master, the storm in the cubicle, the creator of controlled destruction and intentional creation. The world doesn't just need another citizen to follow the lines. It needs your particular madness, your unique spark, the way you bend rules, the way you laugh at fear, the way you make chaos productive, beautiful, precise. And once you claim this identity, once you practice it daily, once you allow yourself to live inside your own wildness and direct it intentionally, then nothing, no system, no expectation, no warden voice can ever silence the truth you carry. The joke is over, the mask falls, and what remains is you, unpredictable, alive, uncontainable, and finally free. Now let's not stop there, my friend, because the mask, the polite disguise, the little costume of approval, it's still tightening around your skull, still pressing on your chest, still whispering in your ear that the only way to survive is to obey, to nod, to clap, to shrink, to disappear quietly while everyone else performs their own little facades. And you call this civilization, you call this responsibility, you call this adulthood, and yet the storm inside you, oh, the storm inside you does not care for your titles, Your degrees, your paychecks, your polite routines, your coffee rituals, your scheduled breaks, your email chains, your polite laughter, your polite smiles. It does not care. It laughs, it roars, it pulses, it hums with energy that is far older and wilder than the scripts you are following. And it has been waiting for decades, waiting for one tiny spark, one small act of defiance, one glance at yourself without apology, one loud, untamed, unpoliced moment where you remember that the world is not a boardroom, not a cubicle, not a spreadsheet, not a traffic jam. It is a canvas, a chaos, a stage, a place where the storm inside you can explode, can ripple, can rearrange everything. And you, yes, you have been standing there in the shadows, clapping for everyone else's performance, while your own pulse screamed for release, for recognition, for the chaos that is your birthright. And it's funny, isn't it? Oh, it's deliciously ironic, painfully, exquisitely funny. You've been taught to fear your own power, to fear the noise inside your skull, to fear the wild, untamed potential that wants to rearrange the universe, and so you hide it, tuck it under polite excuses, under routines, under meaningless work, under the applause of strangers who wouldn't notice if you died quietly behind your mask. And yet the storm, oh, it never leaves, it never rests, it only waits, and when it sees hesitation, when it sees fear, when it sees your compliance, it laughs at you, and perhaps that is the point, huh? Perhaps that is the joke. Imagine, just for a moment, what would happen if you stopped pretending, if you stopped performing, if you simply allowed the storm inside to speak, without asking permission, without seeking approval, without waiting for the polite applause of a society too cowardly to admit its own madness. Imagine your first small rebellion, a glance that is too sharp, a laugh that is too loud, a word that is too honest, a step that is not measured, a thought that is not tamed, and notice how the world shudders, how the walls of expectation wobble, how the masks of others tremble, how the polite illusion winks nervously, as if it knows it has been caught, as if it knows someone finally is awake. Finally, someone remembers that life is not polite, life is not orderly, life is not comfortable, life is fire, life is chaos, life is storm, life is pulse, life is laughter, and you, yes you, are the conduit, the channel, the storm bringer, the one who bends reality with the courage to be untamed, to be unpredictable, to be exactly, deliciously, gloriously alive. And the most terrifying, intoxicating, beautiful part, the chaos does not destroy, it creates, it rearranges, it rewrites, it rebuilds the world according to the rhythm of your pulse, according to the energy of your untamed thoughts, according to the fire that burns because it cannot be silenced, cannot be squashed, cannot be forgotten. And this is why they warned you, why they whispered, why they commanded you to stay in line, to obey, to smile politely while the storm howled inside, because they knew deep down that one person remembering the power of their own pulse is more dangerous than armies, more dangerous than laws, more dangerous than obedience itself, because it awakens everyone else, because it cracks the cage, because it exposes the lie, because it reminds the world that the mask, the routine, the polite decay is just that, a lie, a farce, a prison of the soul. And you are the joker in their comedy, the chaos in their order, the fire in their cold gray machine. And oh, how delicious, how liberating, how necessary. And now let us talk about the consequences of choice, my friend, because freedom is not free. Freedom does not come with polite applause. Freedom comes with trembling, with chaos, with staring at the edge of your own fear and laughing at it, with choosing the storm over the cage, with saying to yourself, I will not obey silently, I will not smile politely, I will not hide in corners while my pulse screams for life. And when you make that choice, the world will resist, the masks will frown, the polite applause will grow uncomfortable, the eyes will judge, the whispers will circle like vultures, but none of that matters, because the storm, your storm, will sing, and every shiver of fear will be a confirmation, every heartbeat a drumbeat of rebellion, every laugh a missile launched at the tyranny of the polite decay. And you will feel it, finally, the first true pulse of being alive without permission, without apology, without compromise, without fear of polite judgment, without the chains of expectation. And the irony, the most exquisite, bitter irony, is that once you take the first step, the first laugh, the first untamed thought. You will wonder why you ever believed you were safe in the cage, why you ever bowed to invisible wardens, why you ever clapped for ghosts, why you ever pretended that polite decay was life, and you will realize, you were never safe. You were never alive, and the storm was always inside, laughing at your hesitation, laughing at your compliance, laughing at your fear, waiting for the moment you finally remembered how to be you. So start, my friend, start today, start this very hour, start this very breath, break one rule, speak one truth, laugh at one lie, feel the pulse of your own chaos sliding up your spine, notice the tremor in your hands, the fire in your eyes, the beat in your chest that refuses to be silenced, that refuses to bow, that refuses to apologize. And in that fire, in that laughter, in that chaos, you will see the mask fall, piece by piece, crumble into nothingness, dissolve like smoke, and the storm inside will expand, will roar, will illuminate the corners you've been hiding in for decades, will remind you that the world is not a cubicle, not a traffic jam, not a polite office, not a polite life, but a playground, a laboratory, a stage, a canvas, a place for the untamed, the courageous, the absurd, the alive, and you are its conductor, its mischief maker, its pulse, its laughter, its chaos, and the world will bend, quietly, subtly, irreversibly, to the rhythm of your untamed, unapologetic, glorious life.